Hello and welcome to Dharma TV. I'm Lola, this is Martin, and in this video slash podcast, I guess, we're going to be talking about Martin's very interesting yoga journey. So I don't know about you, Martin, yoga teachers. You often get asked about your yoga journey. Oh, you pulled a face then. Why are you pulling a face?
I don't know, I'm sorry.
No, it's a bit of a cringy, I don't know about you, but I'm always a bit like, it's a bit of a cringy kind of expression, yoga journey. It's a bit cheesy, isn't it? But we all have a journey. We all got to where we are doing yoga somehow. Like for me, as you know, I broke me back a couple of years ago, and that kind of put me on my path. And you have told me your yoga journey before, and I always find it super duper interesting. Yeah, bits brokenly, and it's a bit like gather round children on the campfire. I can listen to it all day. But so Martin, tell me what got you into yoga?
Where do I start?
At the beginning. It doesn't have to be the beginning. You could dilly-dally it around.
I was probably about 18 when I started. And it wasn't hatha yoga that I began, it was meditation.
That's quite a bit. You're 18. What got you in? What instigated you? Most 18-year-olds, they want to go out, boozing down the discotheque.
Did do a bit of that.
What? I said discotheque. Do people
was discotheque.
Oh, was it back in the day? So what got you? What interested you? Why were you interested?
I wanted to understand the way the universe worked. I had a desire.
As every 18-year-old does. That's quite unusual for a deep 18-year-old. Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just had a desire to want to know how it all worked. I used to look up the night sky, the stars, and I couldn't fit it into the little reality that we lived in. And I thought there must be a bigger reality, there must be a bigger picture. And yoga eventually gave me the answers. But, that was a long time ago. I was just beginning. So it was meditation that really caught my interest to begin with.
I bet you were a super duper cool 18-year-old. You see, most of them, don't they all kind of like write poetry and stuff? But you were like, no, I'm going to go above that and meditate. Amazing. So where did you do it? In your bedroom? Were there meditation classes?
No, I don't think there was any meditation classes in Tilbury when I was 17, 18. It was not really what you'd expected there. No, I went to the library and found some books on meditation, and that opened up a whole world of Eastern philosophy, which eventually led to hatha yoga. But that's where it started, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. So it's all like Eastern philosophy, going to the library. In my head, we're making a film out of it, but the library's like really ancient. So it's like a secret wing, and you have to go through cobwebs.
It doesn't exist anymore, but anyway, the library got pulled down.
Where was it? In
Grays.
In Grays. Not quite as exotic as the film in my head. But yeah, good old Grays. Good old Grays. So, got to the library, the Eastern mystic, Eastern philosophy, and then that paved the way for hatha yoga.
It did eventually, but I got very drawn into astral projection and lucid dreaming as well. That was really big at the time, where my friend and I used to go to seminars and meetings on astral projection, how to do it.
So what kind of time are we talking? When was this?
Early 70s, 71, 72. So, so we used to do that, and I used to spend quite a lot of time practicing astral projection. Lucid dreaming was another big fascination at the time for me.
So what exactly is lucid dreaming? That's when you're in control of your dreams? Is that what it is?
You're aware in your dreams, and you can dictate the course of your dreams. And it does work, absolutely works, but it does take a huge amount of self-awareness every time you go to bed.
Oh, sounds like a lot of effort. Like when I go to bed, I want to kind of,
But it does work. It does definitely work, as does astral projection as well.
Amazing. So when did you first go to like your first proper yoga class?
I guess I was about 24. and I didn't go to classes originally. I found some books on Hatha Yoga, and I just used to practice in my flat, my first flat.
So did you go, your first class, was that in Grays? Did they have yoga classes in Grays? If you don't know where Grays is, it's a delightful place in Essex. But you moved to Lee.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and I did find a class, adult education class at that time, and that's where it started. I mean, I just, I carried on practicing at home, and I was just one of your average little students practicing for a long time. Just didn't really go beyond going to classes for quite a while, but yeah, that's how it started.
So when do you think your practice, I don't know how to say this, got serious? when did you, I don't know what this means, fight and not let go?
Probably my early 30s.
Right.
Yeah. It probably began to make sense when I was probably in my early 30s.
Oh, that's interesting. What do you mean by make sense?
I suppose the meditation and the Hatha Yoga and the other disciplines, philosophies that I'd read about sort of seemed to fit together.
Right.
The pieces began to join together. And then, go on.
Do you mean like as a concept, or did you feel things starting to shift within you?
I definitely changed, yeah. Which probably opens other doorways, which you then have the opportunity to go through, don't you? But we don't always. So then you open that doorway, and it leads to something else, and something else, and something else, to where I am now.
And did you used to go to like big yoga seminars, workshops in London with the big yogi bigwig people, or were you more low-key kind of classes?
I guess I went on that workshop circuit later on when I found Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga, and I met some friends, and we used to meet up at workshops. It was a long time ago now. I think that Ashtanga Vinyasa got quite popular and big now, but at the time it wasn't. It was quite niche, and I did get to know a lot of people then, but it sort of evolved through my 30s, really.
Right.
Yeah, and I got to got more serious about it, rather than it just being my own thing that I practiced and enjoyed. I got more serious about wanting to know about the philosophy, and eventually wanted to teach. So it got more serious, I guess.
So before we go on to you teaching, I was just going to say about Ashtanga Vinyasa. So what drew you to that?
I think I just got to know some people who were practicing it, and it had quite a bad reputation early on.
Really? I went a bit high pitched then. Really? So why was it?
The average Hatha teacher would quite often talk against it, say that it was caused lots of injuries, and it wasn't very carefully taught.
But that is I think that's something that's still quite prevalent in media, not culture, but yoga land today. People think of it as very much a fast-paced, and it's not at all.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No, it's all things to all people.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. Ashtanga Vinyasa, all things to all people. Got something there. So fast forward, and then what kind of was the catalyst for you deciding you wanted to teach and share? When did you think, hey, I could,
It wasn't until I was 40 that I had a desire to teach. I don't think I would have felt qualified in life until that point, really, to teach yoga, and it all evolved around the same time. I wanted to make yoga my life, and the only way to make yoga my life was to teach, and the only way to teach, as far as I could tell, was to teach from your own place, your own centre, your own studio. because any other form would have been a compromise for me, really. I can't imagine teaching in an adult education environment or a gym environment. It wouldn't have. It would have felt compromised. So the only way for me was to open my own centre.
Which is what we are, isn't it? We're very much. I mean, I'm just going off on a tangent here, but you're saying about teaching in an adult education centre. I don't know if they were the exact words, but we have like philosophy here. It's authentic. It's that underpinning that authenticity. And for me, like going somewhere, teaching somewhere else, it would maybe possibly lack that. So I think that's a strong. Having your own centre, you've got that. You've created that.
Yes, but we are part of a lineage. Fran and I are part of a lineage which we pass on to our students, our teacher trainer students, and the only way that we could maintain that lineage really, authentically, is to teach it from our own environment. I don't think it would be possible otherwise. And that's not denigrating other systems at all. It's just that it's our desire to maintain the lineage.
Oh. No, it's lovely, because I always think it's lovely because you can trace back like our lineage. I can never say that, lineage. So from teacher to teacher. That's a really special kind of.
You'll see the same style, the same system taught in the same way, with the same attention to detail and alignment. You'll see it in the teachers that are out of that system lineage. Yeah, definitely.
So tell just quickly, I've got two things I'm dying to ask. Well, first, tell us about the lineage, and then second, tell us about what you did before you were a teacher.
Okay. The lineage first?
Yes, let's do that.
It evolves from the Krishnamacharya lineage of yoga, Patabi Joy, Iyengar. They all evolved out of the same lineage. And it's been revolves around something called Vinyasa Krama, which is appropriate practice really. So that's why the Ashtanga Vinyasa system is appropriate for everyone, because you practice it appropriately for you. And so then it has an authenticity and a reality to it. Yes.
Yeah. And what did you do before, Martin? I know this, but it's quite a jump, and I think it's important for people to know how your life can be very much one thing, and then you.
So I think they're quite. I think there's a huge similarity between the two because of the discipline.
Yeah.
So you want to know about my last job or my last way of life?
We could do both. So. What was your career before you taught yoga?
Okay, so I was trained as a chef. I trained as a chef from quite early on, up until I decided to give it all up and teach yoga. And there is a huge amount of discipline involved. If you do it professionally, if you want to progress and run kitchens, then I think a similar discipline is involved. And there's a lineage in French.
I hadn't thought about that. Of course there is.
It goes back to Escoffier.
I've got no idea what that is.
The original French chef who decided to write everything down. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
So there is a lineage. There's an awful lot of discipline. You wear uniforms in the kitchen. You have a role. So you have a general, and you have a captain, and you have sergeant.
A general and I thought you meant in the kitchen. A general, captain, and sergeant.
No. Well, you have the head chef, you have the sous chef, you have chef de parties, then you have commis chefs. So there is a system, and you work your way through that system.
And actually, like even recipes, that concept of Vinyasa Krama, an intelligent sequence of steps, you get that with recipes, don't you? Making food. Oh god, this is like a big epiphany moment for me. Everything's linked. And so what were you doing? You said, what did you say before about your lifestyle? Like what was your way of life before yoga? Like your life pre-yoga, how did you spend your days before you were
when I was working?
Yeah, I guess so. Like before you were conscious of, your body and what you were putting in it, and whatnot?
Well, I still practice I did my practice every day for a long time, a long time, decades. And I was really interested in alternative ways of living. Is a bit of a cliche because, you know, I live in the house just like everyone else. I'm a householder, but I was always keen to explore the other side of things, the flip side of things, really. I think that's fair to say. It opens doors, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it opens doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it opens other avenues of.
So my cogs are turning. Yeah, alternative ways of living. The flip side of things. Things not always on the surface. Looking at things.
Well, you know, yoga teaches you that this world out here is not the real reality. The real reality is inside, and I've been aware of that. I think for a long time. That's where it started when I was 18. That's what led me through to all of this. That was that desire to know. And it was obvious to me that the bigger picture out there, the big world, the macro universe, really must evolve from somewhere else. So it took me a long time to get there. But no, that was always there in the background. But then, you know, I had a job. Lots of hours, and I had a profession, and I was managing big kitchens.
You see, I think with that in mind, you're saying about, you know, job, lots of hours. This will be good for another podcast we can do about how we can incorporate yoga, spirituality into your Would you just say yoga is an outsider?
And the householder.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, yoga and the householder. How can they coexist in today's crazy world?
One of the reasons the Ashtanga Vinyasa system was invented, if you want to call it invented, and it is quite an ancient practice, is yoga for the householder. So you condense a day's practice into 2.5 hours.
I mean, well, absolutely, but even for most average Joes, most civilians, 2.5 hours of yoga.
It soon flies by.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your story. Just as well, it wasn't a boring one, because otherwise, this would have been a very boring video.
All right. Thank you.
It was brilliant, excellent. Well done. Bye. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed that. We look forward to seeing you, or you seeing us, next time. If you haven't already, please follow us on here, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you all once again, and Shanti, Namaste.